Delves or Mythic Plus, gearing in the War Within. Now, obviously, you know, we're all gear whores around here. We want to gear out as quickly as possible. What's the best way to gear out, the quickest way to gear out? Let's see if Marcellian can tell us what's the best way to do it in 11.1. Here we go.
Hey guys, should you be gearing with Delves or Mythic Plus in 11.1?
Both. Both. Okay, we don't have to watch the rest of the video. Let's just exit this. We're done. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, fine. We'll watch the rest.
Both of these are changing in Season 2, and in this video, I am going to talk about what it means to gear from Delves, whether you are a casual player or a heroic and mythic creator that wants to augment the early gearing levels next patch. The first thing people always ask about Delves is what class they should play, or which spec is the best, or if there is a Delve tier list. Now, not all classes have the same experience in Delves, and with the addition of Tank Bran next season, you have more options on what to play. For my testing, I have done all of them on Havoc Demon Hunter, almost, because I expected it to be easy. But if it comes to gearing your main and alt, it doesn't really matter what the best class is, since that is your main, and your main is your main. You don't have any other options to play, so you just gotta play your main anyway. If I would recommend something after my brief experience testing the Delves, it would be that your class has to have either one of the following. Insane burst DPS, where you just kill stuff so quickly before they kill you. This relies a lot on tuning and balance, specific cooldowns and trinkets, since in Delves, you're not really pressed for time, so you have the luxury of picking the fights at your convenience.
And Brand does decent DPS. Like, I've always played, you know, Delves. You guys know I play Blood DK only, so I play these as a tank. If you gear Bran out and you put him in the right, you know, configuration, he actually does pretty good damage.
The other factor would be sustainability. So
that's the way I play,
sustainability. Can self-heal reliably through the damage, either via its hybrid heals or leech, like Demon Hunters. Lastly, a tank or a healer spec. I did most of the tier 11 successfully as a Vengeance Demon Hunter, and this was before they nerfed the Delves. Now, with the addition of the tank spec for Bran, doing the Delves is much easier, but there are ways to make it faster, and I will get to that in a minute, or 5. And for all of the details related to Delves and more things about our content, Mythic Plus, class, picking a main and all of that, make sure you check our stream at twitch.tv/MarcellianOnline, or even here on YouTube when we go live and we do content with you guys, whether it's dungeons or raids, and talk about all things Warcraft. Leave a follow if you like it, leave a like if you like it, and let's actually talk about the gear you would be farming and why you should even do Delves in Season 2. Well,
I'm going to say it right now. Probably the best reason to do Delves in Season 2 is because of the crests, right? You can get the gilded crests, which are mythic track level crests. There's a limit, I think 21, how many you can get per week, but doing Delves to get them is going to be pretty damn viable.
To be precise, the better question is who should
on top
do
of your
Delves,
Mythic
actually,
Plus.
because even with the changes, Delves will not reward the best gear in the game. However, Delves are a game system that requires the least amount of effort to complete for the rewards it provides you with. There's no time-restricted content.
Also, early on in the patch, probably doing some quick Delves to get some gear, especially bountiful Delves, might be the way to go.
You need to worry about. First of all, that means you can do the Delves whenever you want, for however long you want it, and they will at most take about 20 minutes and at least can be blasted in 5 minutes once you are strong enough. Delves are meant as content for people who either struggle getting into groups to grind gear or simply would prefer the social aspect of guilds and pugs and like to take it chill after work without the stress of other people. You can do that.
Right, Greg from accounting. Greg from accounting loves guilds, you know, he loves Delves. He doesn't have a guild. He doesn't have any friends. You know, he's got an abusive wife. He's got 2 children who don't appreciate anything he does for them. So Greg likes to log in. He's got 10, 15 minutes and do a Delve, and that's what they're great for. They're great for the working man, the people out there who've got a lot going on in their lives, but they still want to play WoW. And they can do Delves, gear out decently to like heroic level raid gear, and a bunch of slots, and push their gear up, and then also now get gilded crests. They push that stuff up even further, get their item level up a little bit higher. Is it the most efficient way? No. But early on, it is a pretty quick way, actually. Greg needs therapy. He does. He does. But his therapy is WoW.
Delves with other people still might even be more efficient that way, but you don't have to, and likely that is the biggest appeal of them. If you have never done a Delve, think of them as an easier dungeon crossed with a scenario type content. The delves can also make your gearing way faster regardless of what content you push. Your main objective is to clear tier 8 delves that are bountiful. Bountiful delves reward champion gear in their chest as well as an occasional map. The champion gear has 8 ranks, which will take it all the way to 658 item level.
Yeah, not bad.
Let's paint a picture. 658 item level is equivalent to a hero track item that has the rank 4 out of 6. So more than...
So you can either, you know, prepare yourself for heroic raiding, or if you never want to raid, at least get to like a mid-level heroic raid level gear, which is not bad at all for something that's just solo content.
Halfway through its upgrade track. On top of that, myth track gear, the best in the game, starts at 662 item level, so only one upgrade level away from where your champion gear can take you. That doesn't mean that you never need better than champion gear, but it does mean...
I mean, don't forget too, from your vault, you do get heroic track gear. So you're also going to be able to get that now at a slower pace because you're waiting for your vault every week to get that stuff. But you can push that higher and get to what basically low-level mythic raid gear is just from doing delves.
Mean that if you farm champion gear content, it could take you to a place where you can actually start farming myth track content power-wise. This is actually really big for mythic raiders and high key pushers. On top of that, getting the map means you can use it in your next delve, preferably a tier 8 or higher, which will also reward a hero track item. Maps have a higher drop chance if you haven't looted one yet until you get one per week. After that, you will likely need to wait another week for it. However, if you complete 8 tier 8 delves or higher, the vault will already give you a hero track item. Well, 3, but you have to choose only one. So in Season 2, it's almost guaranteed you get 2 hero track items per week and likely up to 4 champion track items, since these last ones only drop in bountiful delves, which you can only benefit from 4 per week. You still need the keys to open the bountiful chests, and it's likely the cap of those keys will remain at 4. Honestly, they should remove the cap on keys if they want delves to be an endgame pillar content for people who just don't want to do dungeons and raids.
The problem is with removing the caps is WoW players are complete degenerates, and they'll just, you know, do it way too much. And then they'll claim that they're being forced to do it. So that I understand why they put a cap on that.
But that's wishful thinking.
Especially early in the patch or the
Season
expansion.
2, the eye level cap doesn't change, but the higher tier delves will reward more resources like undercoins or resonant crystals, but also upgrade crests and valor stones. Another reason to consider delves more next season is that the undercoins currency will be better. The vendor for it, although rewards some pretty cool cosmetics, will offer gear at veteran track, while in Season 1 it only gave adventurer gear. Veteran track is obviously better because it's higher item level, but more importantly, it will be catalyzable, or at least it should be, since all veteran gear can normally be transformed into tier set items. The system is more for
nice, so you can get your tier set pretty quickly there. At least your, what would that be, like a normal raid level tier set?
Gearing, since you need to level your delver's journey.
At least use the catalyst for some of it.
But that means that if you farm enough undercoins, you can fully gear up your alts in epic gear, and depending on how far into the season you are, give them a full 4-set bonus on top. More importantly, on tier 11s, you can actually loot gilded crests, 7 per run actually, with a total cap of 21 per week. That's not a lot of crests, but it is rewarding you for doing a tier 11, and if you are a delve only player, this essentially means you can do 4 big hero track upgrades every 4 weeks, or get a max item level crafted gear piece in 9 weeks, which is bigger than anything you will ever get if you never step foot into a mythic raid or push keys past +10. For anyone that is actually mythic raiding and doing +10 keys, this will likely be nothing. But then again, those people are not the target audience for
No, they're
delves.
not.
Are tier 11 delves worth it with the new changes? I tested all tier levels of delves and took note of the drops from all of them, especially going higher than +8s, and the rewards have definitely increased. While the item level will cap at +8, since the devs don't want to make people feel they have to push for better gear, if you do decide to push, there is something in it for you. Now, I have done a few 11s, and the amount of rewards is fairly consistent, give or take a few crests here and there. Whether or not they are worth doing comes down to you. What you may see here is footage from when the delves were overtuned, since they nerfed 9.
Yeah, they nerfed a bunch of them, so they're not going to be that hard. Really, what it is path to least resistance, and what do you have time for? Because the infinite grind that is you know running Mythic Pluses over and over, that's always going to be the best way to gear out. But the truth is, if you don't have infinite time, or maybe you have time at some points in your day and then not in another, when you have a shorter amount of time, delves are becoming much more viable to get done and actually contribute to your gearing out process, especially with those tier 11 crests. It's really good, actually.
10s and 11s in the end, making them way more accessible. So depending on how fast you clear your delves, it may or may not be worth to do 11s. To paint you a picture of what to expect from pushing delves higher, a tier 8 delve will reward 25 Valor Stones, 2 Runed Crests, and 72 Undercoins if you just normally clear it, as well as the occasional 610 Atom level Adventurer gear. Since the next season we have a new gimmick for delves, the Nemesis Goblins that will be empowered and provide an additional challenge.
Goblins.
Killing all of them will add about 15 more Valor Stones for a total of 40, 70 extra Undercoins for a total of 142, and 2 more Runed Crests. These are not that hard to beat, and I will go over them in the end with a few more tips on how to get these delves cleared fast.
Okay.
If the delve is also bountiful, you will get 98 extra Undercoins, bringing the total up to 240-ish, and a champion gear piece. Of course, every run will give you Resonance Crystals. Now, this is for an 8, which I think is pretty similar to the live version. If you go all the way up to 11s, just by clearing it, you get 35 Valor Stones, 122 Undercoins, and 8 Runed Crests. Adventurer gear will still drop from time to time. On top of that, the Nemesis Strongbox will give you an additional 103 Undercoins, 25 Valor Stones, and 4 more Crests. Now, this is even rare as it only happened once for me, but in the Strongbox, I also looted a Warbound Veteran gear that drops at 626 Atom level, which I expect would be the same for a +8 as it is for a +11, but it only dropped in 11s for me. And for the Bountiful chest, if you do the 11s on Bountiful, the champion gear is the same as an 8.
That is the big change. That is the reason why this is now so viable for gearing out and such a viable way to supplement your Mythic Plus runs, right? These, especially early on in the patch, they're always hard to come by. Gilded Crests, you know, you're trying to grind them out whatever way you can. If you got a couple minutes and you run a quick tier 11 Bountiful Delve, this is a really good way to get it. And you could do this 3 times a week for 21 of them. That's not bad. What is that, a whole upgrade? And how much does an upgrade typically cost? 15 of them? So that's at least 1 upgrade slash 3 basically every 2 weeks. That's pretty good.
But you will get an extra 146 Undercoins with even more Resonance Crystals. That means that in total, for an 11 delve, you get about 390 Undercoins, about 70 Valor Stones, 13 Runed Crests, and the capped 7 Gilded Crests, on top of the same gear a tier 8 will drop. The increase in resources is good for people farming them, and it definitely feels better to do an 11 once your character is decently geared and can finish it in a reasonable time, especially if any other form of content is tedious to you. Now, a few tips for the new season. First, level up your brand as much as you can, especially if you're seeing this video before the Season 2 launched. You still have time,
I have not leveled up my brand enough.
Worth it. It makes the delves easier and compensates lack of gear, and that is especially important if, second, you get Bran to tank, which if you plan on doing delves as a healer, this is perfect. I tested this in a +11 with my Mistweaver Monk.
Also, I think the way the mechanic works with the Bran tank is like the more you heal him or the higher his health is, the more damage he does. So there's some interesting healer interplay there when he's tanking.
It was easier than either doing it as a DPS or as a tank, which might actually incentivize people to rock the healer spec for delves. Maybe just the 11s though. Some things to know about tank Bran. His damage is okay-ish. My Bran was about level 54. I couldn't pull as big as I would like, but if you take it 1 or 2 packs at a time, it can work, again, in an 11. It might depend on the healer as well. Mistweaver doesn't have great defensives for Bran. And keep in mind, I tested Bran as a tank spec with me playing Havoc, and it didn't really work that well. Obviously, if you're also a tank, it doesn't make sense for Bran to be a tank. So only use Bran as a tank if you play a healer. That would be my advice, since you cannot keep him up. He will die often, It's kind of just pointless in the end. Third tip is to 100% do the Mimic chests and any power-ups you find. The Mimic chest is especially good if you do over tier 8s or the delve is generally difficult for you. If you defeat it, and that's still difficult in its own, it gives you 50% health increase as a power-up for the rest of the delve, and an additional power on top of it. It does a lot of damage, but what you really want to make sure is that you have 2 stops, an interrupt and a stun. The most important thing to watch out that will 100% kill you is the Void Grasp. The mob itself is called a Treasure Wraith, but Dark Souls fanatics will call it a Mimic since it is inspired by the seemingly innocent loot chest that comes out to devour you if you open it. If you try to open it normally, you get the Void Grasp channel on you and you will die. You can instead open it by using AoE abilities on it until it pops out. It doesn't have a health bar on it, but if you damage...
Damn, if I didn't watch this video, I would have died. I had no idea about this mechanic. What the hell? So it's like a void chest, and if you AoE it, it'll open up safely, and then you got to kill the void guy. But if you just try to open it regular, it's an insta-death? What the hell? Imagine you only had 1 life left, and this is how you lost it. Sam, you died to everything?
Damage it enough, it wakes up, and you get to dodge the certain death. After that, it keeps casting and smacking you with void bolts and umbral slashes that you would want to stop as many as you can of. But really, have a stun or interrupt for Castigate. That channel is also brutal and will kill you if you don't interrupt it. There are other rares and such that on the PTR
have do some mythics here in a couple minutes, Grandma.
Which I imagine would be worth picking up as well. Fourth tip, it goes without saying, but clear the Nemesis packs. These are the replacement for the Zegvir affix, where occasionally packs of the Delve are replaced with Gallywix's goons. Killing all of them gives you that...
it's actually Underpin's goons. Yeah, he's the new question mark / double question mark Zegvir challenge boss. So yeah, he's got these goons in there, that's right.
Extra loot in the end.
He'll give you extra loot.
And my fifth tip is to do the Bountiful Delves on tier 8, until you are 100% sure you can clear them on 11s. The bountiful reward is only better on 11s when it comes to undercoins and crystals, but not worth having to reset your run on tier 11s just so you don't lose your bountiful chest. One last change they made to the maps.
We have a realm to destroy.
Hank, thank you for the follow. Welcome to our Scourge.
I mentioned earlier but didn't really go into details is that now there is a bad luck protection in place to make sure you eventually do loot a map if you keep clearing delves.
The Delver's Bounty maps.
But it caps at 1 map per week. Now I have done over a dozen delves and didn't loot a single one. It could not be working properly on the PTR, or you might need to play even more to loot one. So just keep that in mind. And if you haven't chosen a main to gear yet and to push delves with, check our video on how to actually choose a main if you're having trouble deciding.
Yeah, interesting video. So, I mean, I thought he was going to compare Mythic Plus to Delves. What he really did was just go into detail about how, what's it called, fruitful Delves are going to be in the coming patch. And I think they're going to be very good. Most definitely. I think they're going to be super viable. Blizzard wanted to make them content that people can actually use to gear out properly, and with the new changes, I think they are going to be, certainly. Mythic Plus will always be the better way and the quickest way to do it, but this is very nice either for people who never do Mythic Plus or for people who want to supplement their Mythic Plus runs with Delves. Good video from Marcellian.